It's the Football Prophets.
Welcome to a new episode of Football Prophets, where two friends talk all things American soccer. I'm your host, Mission, and I'm here with my good friend, Coach David Johnson. How you doing today, my guy?
I am fantastic, Mission. I'm a good friend again. I'm moving back up the social ladders. I'm no longer in exile of friendship, so
yeah,
it's a good day. It's a good day to be me.
Yeah, you were in the doghouse for a little bit, but I'm feeling generous today, and you're back up the ladder, man. I don't have a lot of friends, so for you to get demoted, it took a lot of work, man.
I went from first to last. It's only second, but
that's quick.
Still last.
Yeah. All right, so we have an amazing show today with some. I'm sorry, we're gonna talk about some things that I may laugh about a little bit here, so I'm gonna say my apologies before we kind of dive in here. But hey, still brought to you not officially by Hefty, because number one party cup in America, and we're still rocking it, man. So
not the number one party cup in the Philippines, just America,
just America. I don't say the A anymore. I feel like I'm too late. I miss when people were just saying America, and I want to reclaim it. And I'm going to say it for the next couple of weeks until
you need to go super country and put a U in there. America.
That's it. That's what I got. All right, cool. So talking about America, there's a team who just is bringing up the American spirit in me, and it's St. Louis, man. They came from nobody. They came from nowhere, and to me, they are the greatest team right now, and I rock with them every time. But obviously, the past couple games, they haven't been doing too well. Couple losses, draw, and they're playing right now. I think, and because we were recording Saturday night, it's about midnight Eastern right now. But I think they're up 2-1 currently. But
they're up 2-1 over San Jose, and I was telling you before we recorded this, it really kind of messes up my narrative.
You just say, hey,
I was going to talk about how bad they've been the last 5 games.
I know.
And now they decided they're going to win on the 5th game. So a little disappointed there. I would have liked
that
to
is not American. I don't know what it is, man. Every time they were doubted, St. Louis comes through, man. Talk about them a little bit. How much are they hurting you right now? Talk about them a little bit, Coach.
So if you remember their first 5 games of the season, right? They were perfect, right?
Yeah.
5 for 5, 15 points collected. Their most recent 5 games were a loss, a draw, a loss, and now what's looking to be potentially a win. I'm still fingers crossed hoping for a loss so my narrative sounds better. But what happened here is they're a good team when fully healthy, no doubt, right? But when you lose Edward Lowen in your center midfield role and your DP number 9 forward, right? You're going to be hurting. And that's what's happened here. They're 2 of their best players, their most expensive players, have been out for a few weeks now, and they have had bad results, right? And those injuries just seem to keep getting longer and longer, right? Like the amount of time they're out seems like it's keep being pushed back a week. That's not good. However, with the win here, if they win tonight, if they pull it out, they're still second in the West, right?
Yeah.
I think if they lose or draw tonight, depending on how the Sounders do in their game that just kicked off, they could drop to 3rd in the West. That's not bad.
Well, but for a team that's just, this is their first year.
Yeah, no.
As long as they make the playoff, it's a success. Yeah.
9th and up is a successful season. 4 and up is beyond what you could expectation for.
Yes.
Right? Like phenomenal. So they're still on a phenomenal pace for a brand new team. Like, don't get me wrong there, but seeing this loss, draw, loss, that
you just couldn't wait for an opportunity to hate on them. That's all. That's it.
It's not hating on them. It's just that can be dangerous mindset wise.
Yeah.
to where you were on a high, you were feeling it, you were feeling invincible, and now you're like, oh, we were just 2 key players away from being bad. Now, don't get me wrong. Almost every team in this league is 2 key players away from being bad, right? Like, you take your best 2 players out of any team in this league, you're not going to be a great team, right? We've seen that with the Sounders. They were struggling when they were losing some of their stars, right? Like, it happens to pretty much anyone in this league. When you have 3 DPs available to you, when you're missing 2 of them, you're going to struggle. We saw it with SKC, and now SKC have been on fire once they started getting their DPs back. So it's just one of those reality checks that I think is hitting St. Louis. Yeah. And if they can pull out this win here, I think they'll be fine. If somehow this win turns into a draw or a loss, that's your mentality, right? Like, that's just, oof. And then once those players come back, that's great. That'll be a bump. But you don't have the other 9 players on the field with the right winning mentality thinking they can do this. Yeah. So that's where it can get dangerous. I do not think there's any chance that St. Louis gets knocked out of a playoff spot. Like, I can almost guarantee, write it in stone, St. Louis is a playoff team this year, no matter what. Mm-hmm. But this could be the difference between playing a playoff game at home versus having to go on the road, right? And if I have 0 playoff experience, I'm going to want to do it at home. I'm not going to have to go on the road to play my first ever playoff game. You know what I mean? Like, that will go such a long way. Other teams, okay, they have the experience of playing on the road in playoffs and MLS. They have that experience. They can get through it. But for a team that has 0 experience in the playoffs, a home advantage, massive. So that's the thing you want to keep an eye on here with St. Louis. Can they hold through? Can they get to it? Probably a couple more weeks until their 2 players come back. Actually, I don't even know if I said his name, but Klaus, the DP number 9, is the one out missing right now. And Giochini has stepped up incredibly there, and we'll get to Giochini later in I think part 2 or 3. We're going to talk about him. Mm-hmm. But he isn't Klaus, right? So if they get Klaus back, they get Edward Lewin back, and they can prove that they can win without them in the meantime. So the next couple of weeks, if they can get this win against San Jose, and San Jose is a good team, right? And they can continue to be competitive and win or draw the next couple games, they'll be fine. Home playoff, no doubt. Yeah. But if they let this slip, and if they keep losing and drawing, I don't see them as a home playoff team anymore. Yeah. I mean, bro, in sport, you're going to hit your high and your lows, right? And I think one thing that St. Louis did very well is they got some good veterans who know how to weather the storm. So I think they're going to be fine. They have very experienced players who knows that this happened. It's always on to the next one, right, bro? Like, we've had days, like, even anything you do, like, it's just, even in life, even in sport, it's like, hey, if you have that mentality of on to the next one, you're going to be fine. And they have player with the IQ enough to understand that it's on to the next one. So I definitely, if there's a team that, if this was placed very well, not to throw shade at San Jose, but they needed to play San Jose today to kind of get back on track. So I have no doubt that they're going to win this game. I believe that with my whole heart, and I think they're going to be fine, man. I think they're going to be just fine. See, I agree with you on that statement about San Jose, but I think for completely different reasons. San Jose is not a cakewalk team. Yeah, it's not bad. Right? It's also not like a premier team, you know. They're not, but currently they are right on that home playoff bubble line, right? 4th, 5th. If they win this, they're in 4th, right? So they are a team that St. Louis is looking at and being like, this is the level we need to be at, right? This or higher. So if you can compete with San Jose and beat them, then you feeling good, right? Without your best two players. That's the confidence boost you get when you're playing the San Jose team. It's not that they're a walkover team and you need to play them because you need a win. It's because if you get a win against this team, you've proven to yourself that you can beat some of the best in the league without your best. And I think that goes a very, very long way.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way with that. And that's kind of what I meant with it as well, is that you beat a team who you know, hey, if we mess around, they can also beat us, right? So yeah, man. So moving on a little bit to the south, man. Looks like we have a new king of the south, man. New king of the south. I think we should go. You know how like in Game of Thrones they had a king of the north. I think we have a new king of the south, and it's Austin, because Austin beat Dallas and they beat Houston. So, new king of the south, man. We should make it. I think we have so many shared ideas. King of the south.
They didn't just beat Austin or beat Dallas and that beat Houston, right?
They did.
So, they had 2 games this week. They put on Wednesday and a Saturday against their in-state rivals.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a Copa Tejas matches.
Yeah.
They beat an okay Dallas team 3-0, right? Then what? 3-4 days later, they go and play a really good Houston team, and beat them 3-0.
Yeah,
right. Like,
how do you feel about
Tejas is almost all and dusted right now, right? Like, they have pretty much here with these 2 wins, and I think they have a win and a draw from earlier in the season. Maybe mathematically already, I haven't done the stats on it yet, but I'm pretty sure they have clinched this. Copa Tejas is done. Like, Austin have secured it. Austin are the king of the South.
King of the South.
You might as well just put a crown on Giassi Zardes, because that man's cooking now. Super happy I went out on a limb and drafted him for the Golden Boot. I had a feeling he was good, I had a feeling he was going to have a good season, a comeback season, be the Giassi Zardes of 4 or 5 years ago. But it's just great to see him actually clicking. And this is the first time we've actually seen them play well with both Giassi Zardes and Driussi.
Yeah.
Right? Both of them scoring.
Yeah.
So it was just a one or the other type thing, and you were in this weird situation of who are you going to play? But now they're actually able to perform on the field.
They're making it work now. Yeah.
And I think that's great. I think mainly that's due to Driussi. You see him, we were talking about before, Zardes and Driussi kind of get their goals in the same way and play in the same parts of the field. So now you're seeing Driussi shift out a bit and get into the more half spaces and a little bit wider than the central zone, and Giassi staying in that pure striker zone.
Yeah.
And that's just working really well. You're almost seeing Driussi play more like a Mukhtar.
Yeah.
It's working very well.
Every time, I feel like we should get hired to do consultations for team. I don't know if you've noticed this, man. Every time we talk about an issue with a team, literally less than a month later, it gets fixed. Have you noticed that trend?
Because we're the 2 smartest people in the world.
I'm just saying.
Like, I'm just going out there with it.
Stealing all of our ideas and fixing their team. We should start charging for this advice, man. But
yeah, if they want to send, we can get a GoFundMe going or something. Like, if you want to Zelle me, I'm fine with it.
So as we're gonna keep talking here about scoring, Reynoso scores, man.
Reynoso, he showed up. He's getting his first starts of the season, and he's putting the ball in the net, right? He got his first goal of the season. The second he came back into the squad and he came in as a sub, difference maker.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it reminded me of Hani Mukhtar in the first season, coming in on a sub and then dribbling at players, and everyone's giving him the respect because they know his level, and they're backing off, and that creates an opportunity. Yeah. It's the same thing, just at a slightly lower level, I think, for Reynoso. But the level he brings to this team is ridiculous.
Yeah. Be who you can afford to be, man. Because you. If you're Reynoso, that's when you're like, yeah, guys, I'm done with the suspension. I'm ready to play now, and I'll just score a few games after I'm back. Does that work? Yeah, sure. Let's go. That's pretty.
It's still crazy to me that he pretty much decided when his suspension is over.
Yeah, I'm ready to come back now, guys. Vacation's over.
The amount of hold he has on the league, where he can just be like, "Yeah, no, I'm not suspended anymore. I'm going to play."
Be who you can afford to be.
All right.
Always be who you can afford. If you can get away with it, get away with it. Be who you can afford to be. All right. So talking about who you can afford to be, one of the greatest names. We got a warning for this guy though, Messi. Looks like some of his teammates are getting bit by spiders over there, man. What's going on? Someone going to the zoo and getting bit by a spider, man. That was kind of a funny story when I heard it.
Yeah, this is the craziest story I think I've heard in MLS this year. So what will be Messi's, I think, third string goalkeeper at Miami, he was at the zoo with his wife and kids and family, just enjoying a Miami summer. And he got a spider bite and had to get to the hospital and spent 3 days in the hospital recovering from a spider bite. Yeah. I didn't realize that Miami is just like the United States version of Australia.
Oh, bro.
Everything will kill you. I didn't know that.
Bro.
I guess spiders there are on steroids or something. I don't know. But
how does a spider bite you in a zoo? Like, that's where they're supposed to be. You're supposed to be safe from animals. Like, that's where you go to be like, oh, they're all the way. Let me go and see them all. And then you get bit. That's funny.
To be fair, a spider is not what you go see. You don't go to the zoo to go see just a little daddy long legs out.
Spiders. But
actually, can I level with you? I got to be completely honest here. I'm making fun of this guy, but I spent roughly 3 days in the hospital due to a spider bite.
Oh, what?
When I was like in Greece,
man.
So
it with goalkeepers
it happened.
Spiders.
Nick Marsman, I'm sorry. I feel your pain, man. We just gotta be tougher out here. We can't let spiders do this to us.
I have a bad joke going to my head right now, and I just hope that it's.
Is it anything to do with Spider-Man?
No, it's literally. I'm saying in my head, it's like, well, at least it didn't go to that submarine.
Well, all right then. But can you imagine if this Marsman gets Spider-Man abilities? He will go from third string goalkeeper to number one, like league MVP.
How legal would that be though?
I mean, it's not like it's a drug. Like, it's not a PED. Like,
you like a superhuman now. You need to have rules.
I mean,
like,
if you spend 3 days in the hospital because of a spider bite, I think you deserve a little bit of a competitive edge, right? Like, you've paid your bills, you've done your dues, you deserve to now be an elite freak mutant athlete and get paid a couple $1 million.
Did you get it?
It's the trade-off. It's the trade-off.
Did you get that? Are
you willing to almost die?
I keep asking you a question. Did you get that? Because you got bit.
Yeah, I did. I just decided, kind of like the real Spider-Man, I think it would be unfair. So I pretend that I'm just a completely mediocre goalkeeper.
Right, deep inside.
But I could save everything.
Yeah.
Physically, I could. I just decided, you know what, it's not fair to these people.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just play down a level or two.
Like Clark Kent. You don't get in fight with people, although you can beat them up. You gotta keep it down. So yeah,
if you don't score a goal on me in Sunday League Soccer, just know
if I ever scored on you,
I let you. Huh?
If I ever scored on you,
you?
Yeah.
I hope not. You're my teammate. If you scored on me, we have issues.
I'm just saying it for fun. If I ever scored, remember when you had me like help you, when you had like the ankle injury and I was helping.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. I put some good ones on you, man.
I kind of hope you scored on me. We were doing shooting drills for like 2 hours. I saved everything.
All of them get denied.
I saved everything over the course of 2 hours. We're doing nothing but shooting drills. So you need to retire, my man.
So let's talk about some crazy things. Yeah, as we're in a laughing mood here. So there's 2-2 draw pandemic midweek going on. There's a crazy stat with some draw games that happened on Wednesday that's just out this world. Talk to me about that, Coach. So 30% of the game, but you more into all this breakdown and stats. So talk to me about what happened there. Just crazy.
I'll try to keep this as like entertaining and not boringly statistic as possible.
Yeah.
But on the midweek game week this week, so on Wednesday, there were 4 different games that ended in a 2-2 draw. Right? Usually, if you score 2 goals in the game, you should be good to win. Right?
Yeah.
So both teams scoring 2 goals and none of them walking away with 3 points. Weird, right? Statistically, a 2-2 draw this far in the season has happened 4% of the time, right? On Wednesday, it happened 36% of the time. 36% of games on Wednesday ended in a 2-2 draw, right? 4 of the 11. That's crazy. Yeah. That's a lot. But then you look through and I'm like, okay, there's been 11 different 2-2 draws this season.
Yeah.
7 of them have happened on 2 different days. Like, for whatever reason, when there is a 2-2 draw, there's going to be a lot of them that day. Like, if you see one 2-2 draw happen, just know you're going to see 3 or 4 of them happen.
Yeah.
So it's very weird to me that they've all just come in clumps when they should only happen 4% of the time.
Is this like an under radar MLS curse? You see that, just forfeit your game. We gonna draw it.
I'll tell you what. It makes the league more entertaining, right? Like, yeah. How often do you see 4 goals split evenly in a match in anywhere in the world? Right? Like, MLS has some high scoring games. It's because it's because we spend so much money on our DP players, and our designated players are all forwards for the most part. I mean, there's a few 6s, so like most of the money in this league is due to the attack. And most of the homegrown Americans are defenders. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a reason why MLS is a high-scoring league, but it's entertaining. It's entertaining.
So, on the subject of being a high scoring league, kind of pivoting a little bit here, but what are the likely chances of Kei Kamara becoming the number 1 top scorer? Because we have those opportunities to kind of put a lot behind the net, and feels like Chicago was really letting him be that driving force. So what they are, good. Yeah,
he's getting starts. He is the oldest person on his team, which you don't always see in a striker. Usually, it's a goalkeeper or center back that's going to be the oldest on the team. You don't usually see a
scoring
9 be the oldest.
You can't. He's still
He's still scoring. I think he has like maybe 5, 6 on the season, something like that. And we're only about 17 games in, so for him, that's on a pretty decent pace. But he, on Wednesday, scored his 144th regular season MLS goal. That now puts him 1 behind Landon Donovan, who sits second in the leader books at 145, but 27 behind Wando.
That man was just scoring.
Kei Kamara will probably have to play till he's 42, 43 to catch Wando. Because every year he's going to drop a little bit, right?
How old was
every year he's not going to be,
do you know?
Mid-30s.
Wow.
Younger than Kei. Kei.
That's impressive.
Because I think, Wando retired like 2 seasons ago? Last season?
Impressive. That is impressive.
Wando killed it. Wando lit this league on fire.
That's impressive.
Other than Kei, there are current players. There are 2 current players other than Kei that sit at over 100 goals. Do you know who those 2 are?
I'm gonna say Joseph.
Joseph sits at, I believe, 102.
Okay, and then I won't be able to get the second one. What was the second one?
Giassi Zardes, who we talked about earlier, with Austin.
Obviously.
I think his goal tonight ties Joseph at 102. Yeah. I believe he was 1 behind Joseph until tonight, so it's going to be a little race there. And honestly, right now I have Zardes as a better goal scorer than Joseph in the league.
For sure. But I mean, we don't know what Messi with those assists, man. We don't know.
That could change things. That honestly could change things.
Yeah, because Messi now is just looking for assists. That man literally said, I've done everything in football, okay? I don't need to do nothing. I could just come here and pass the ball then.
But has he won the U.S. Open Cup? Not yet.
And he might end up being the first MLS player to win the Ballon d'Or. So let's see how that goes.
All right. So off the top of my head, there's never been a current MLS player who won the Ballon d'Or while playing in MLS.
Yeah.
But there has been a Ballon d'Or winner who went and ended up playing in MLS. Who, I believe? Kaká.
Yeah.
Kaká, the Brazilian. He went to Orlando? I think Orlando.
Yeah, Kaká went to dude, I used to love that. He has such an awkward run, but he was so effective.
You know, I never realized this until I saw him play like in real life, but he's big. He was like 6'1", 6'2". I didn't realize his size. He's Ronaldo height. Yeah, I didn't realize that. I thought he was a much smaller player.
Off him, man. He wasn't. I
knew he was physical and had the ability, but I didn't realize how tall he actually was.
So one thing about him is I don't think he was like skilled with his feet, but he had control, and he was such a big body that he just went by people.
He wasn't a skiller, like he wasn't a doing all these step overs and crossovers and whatnot, but he had the ball glued to his foot.
Yeah, like that control. That's right. Yeah, and then obviously with that body, you're gonna bounce off him at some point. You know, you need like a center back to be able to stop him. So, yeah,
that's usually why you do put center backs next to the number 9, though. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Yeah, it's not like a number 7 is gonna be tracking back for him.
But he wasn't a true number 9, Kaká. He wasn't.
No, he was that kind of false 10 or false 9, 10 hybrid role. But when he went to MLS, he did end up playing pretty much exclusively at the 9.
Yeah. All right. Well, that ends us there for our first part. With everything that we covered there. Kei Kamara. I wish you all the best, but that man gonna need at least 10 more seasons to catch Wando, man. It's not gonna happen. So I'm just going to stop.
If there's a 38-year-old that can play into their early mid-40s, it's going to be Kei Kamara.
Where though? That's the other thing. Because do you think Chicago's going to keep just because Chicago's letting him do this? I think a lot. This is not winning soccer that they're playing down there.
It's not, but also don't forget they have Xherdan Shaqiri on their team, and they've benched him because he's done nothing. Right, bringing in big players Chicago hasn't helped.
Okay, can Kei Kamara be part of a winning team and performing at a high rate, and be one of the reasons why they're winning at this time of his career?
No, but what he can be, what he should be, is a Corey Burke type player, who you need a big body to come in late in the game, last 10, 15 minutes. He can be that guy, and he should be
that doesn't give him the opportunity to catch Wando, though. And then you get sparks.
Give him 4 to 6 goals a year, and if he does that
by 27, that's another 5 seasons.
Yeah, and if he does, he has 4 or 5 years coming off the bench in him. No issue. If he's 38 years old right now and starting and playing full 90s every single week, twice a week sometimes, he can come off the bench for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
But I don't know if I want the glory that way, though. I want to be on top when I get that number 1 spot. Maybe I'm just different.
Wando wasn't on top when he got his. Like, Wando, at the end of his career, was a bench player, wasn't doing much.
Yeah. I don't know. It's the MLS. Hopefully he gets it. I don't see it happening. But, hey, I'm going to stop us there. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for a second part. We're back for a second part here with the Football Prophets, where we're going to be touching on some good subject here that might spark some friendly debates, man. Are you ready for this?
I am, man. Let's do it.
All right, we're gonna see who's the best debater. But all right, so mid-season award. we're gonna kind of go one on one. We're not gonna list all of them, but we're gonna talk about if the season was to end today, who will be your MVP, who will be your coach of the year, most surprising team, most surprising player, and then best side, right? So I know I'm gonna change my best surprising team, although I kind of told you what it was before we hit the record button. I'm gonna kind of throw it at your face here. But
I have a list. I wrote a list for most surprising teams.
Yeah,
I was just gonna put one. I was gonna put one, and it was gonna be negative. And I was like, I'm already the negative guy on here. I can't have everything I say be negative and like downspoken. So I put in positive positives. I put in 2 positives along with my negatives. So it's a whole new me. It's a whole new me.
Yeah, but we only picking one team, right? You're not picking like a bunch of teams.
We are, but again, I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer, so I had to make a list here. We're just doing one.
Cool.
I chose 3.
Cool. Cool.
You sound like a nice person.
You well known for how hateful you are. So so let's keep it going, man.
I got a text from my mom the other day saying, "Why are you so mean to Michelle?" Like, I was like,
"Yes,
I don't know how to answer this, mom."
Wow. You so mean to me. That's why I don't record at the house anymore. I just want you to know that. So next time you come to visit, I won't be around because he kicked me out.
Bullying builds character. That's all I'm going to say.
I am who I am because of how mean David is to me. But I
made you a better man. You are welcome.
I owe you everything I have, bro. All of it.
I'll just take 10%, like a high agent fee, like whatever you make is it. Write me a little check every year. It's fine. It's fine.
I'll make a way. I'll slice some your way. All right, let's go with MVP, man. Who's your MVP if the season was to start today?
In Hani, we trust. Hani Mukhtar all day, every day. He's a number 10 who is the league's leading goal scorer at 13, 3, now 2 ahead of the next best, which should be Denny Bowanga, I believe.
Yeah.
Put in his 11th today. Hani Mukhtar has scored 13 goals, I believe 7 assists. He already has 20 goals and assists this season, and we're halfway there, right? He's on pace for almost 40. Like, lightning level. Like, no one in the history of the league has had a better start to a season than he had.
And the caveat, came back from injury.
Like, doesn't have a number 9 to feed the ball to, and he still has 7 assists to Schaffelberg. Like, who was Schaffelberg before this year? He was a kid that didn't make it in Toronto, got traded around a bit, and now Hani's got him playing like a league MVP, right? Like, Hani is the guy. There's like anything you say other than Hani in my mind wrong. Like, no debating it. Wrong.
I think the PR people should, like I follow the, so kind of similar is who Sauce Gardner is for the MLS.
No.
Okay, so he's this guy named Sauce Gardner, and right when he came in, they had this commercials for him where it's like he puts in the sauce on things or something. I think they need a commercial for Hani Mukhtar where it's just like just put some honey on it, like makes everything better. I think if I was one of their PR guy, I'll like try to work out a deal with some honey company or something. But that's just my brain working. Just put some honey in it.
I feel like Hani can do better than like a Bumblebee commercial where he's dressed up as a big bumblebee floating around. I think he can do better.
Endorsement money though. Endorsement money. Yeah, you get the endorsement money.
Let's think higher for Hani.
So well, he can have his own brand on honey. Kind of come up with that. That'll be a good one. But I know
honey. I actually like that a lot. Honey.
I'm telling you, man, hire me, honey. I'll come up with some good merch stuff and we'll get this going off the floor. But I know it is going to be Hani Mukhtar. But it's who you would like to see as MVP, and I have to say, Acosta, man, from Cincinnati. On the pace that they are, he is their best player. and I know you and I kind of had a laugh about it, where it's like now every other year there's a team that comes out that's like the best team in the history of the MLS. So what they're doing is like, oh, this happens more often now that people just break records and are on pace to kind of make history. But bro, 3 years ago, nobody saw Cincinnati here, you know, and they were forced to be reckoned with now. And Acosta's is playing good, man. I think we should like, when we think MVP, a lot of time we get stuck with like goals, right? It's the most valuable player, and the most valuable player on the best team should almost always have a case to win MVP. And I think Acosta should have a case to win MVP. I think
Acosta is the second choice here. I think hands down he is the second option. But we've had this discussion before. I don't know if we had it on air or just you, me. You take
he wasn't on air.
Hani out of this Nashville team, they are going to be considerably worse than FC Cincinnati if you take Acosta out, because Kubo will slide right in there, right? Barrial will slide right in there.
Yeah. And
Hani is more important to his team than Acosta is.
Okay.
And he's putting in more stats.
This is not the MVP award for your team. This is the most valuable player of the MLS, right? Like that's what it is. It's not who's the most valuable for their team. It's for the MLS. If I'm getting this right, tell me if I'm wrong.
I mean, more or less, but you prove that
because your value on your team. But the value on your player, based on how valuable you are, will always vary based on the team, right? Like, I can be the valuable player on my team, and you can be the valuable player on my team, but our levels of values to our each own team, individual team, is different on how they view us. But you're going to be the most valuable player. So if I have the team that's breaking the street, that's the best team, and they have the most valuable player of their team, why wouldn't that valuable player win the most valuable player for the MLS?
Because he has more valuable players on his team. He has Vasquez.
That don't matter.
It does, because
valuable
who is
player.
Feeding the ball?
He's not the most valuable player on his team.
He is, but he's not the most. Well, I don't think he's the most important. You take him out, they are better than they would be if you took Vasquez out.
Everything changes.
They're better than they would be if they took Mosquera out.
Acosta out, everything changes.
It does, but Barrial can play that level. Barrial can play that level.
Get the freak out of here, bro. Barrial is not replacing Acosta, okay?
Him and Kubo, they will be a step down, but it is not as big as a step down if you took Mosquera out of center back.
It was not my fault if Nashville is not. It's not my fault if Nashville is not scouting well. No, but I'm just saying if Nashville is not scouting well, where it's like, hey, if one of our valuable player goes down, we can kind of replace him. That's not Cincinnati's fault.
But it does show you the importance of Hani Mukhtar.
He also shows you that the front office can do a better job by getting them better player around here.
Well, exactly. Everyone talks about how Noonan and Chris Albright are the two best there is in the league, right? Like, that's not the question here. The question is, who is the most valuable? Hani is the most valuable. You take Hani out.
All right. Well, You
take Hani out, they're not a playoff level team. You take Lucho Acosta out, they are a home playoff level team and probably still winning the East.
Not winning the East. Stop.
They would.
Stop. They're not winning the Stop. Now you've gone too far, man. Now you've gone too far. You know you.
Who would beat them? Other than Nashville. But if you've taken Hani
Philly
out too,
can beat them. Philly can potentially beat them. I don't think Philly can beat them.
No, I think if you took Acosta out, having Kubo in there to slide right into that spot, you're getting a DP number 9 coming back in to replace Brenner. that team will still be the best team in the East.
All right, well, let's agree to disagree.
I'm just going to start walking around Cincinnati with a baseball bat in case I see Acosta, and we can just prove the point. I'll take out his knees. He'll be gone for the season. Kuba will slay right in.
Bro,
I'll be right. I'll be right.
For people who don't know this man, he's actually a good person. I just want to...
I need to be right more than anything else in this world.
I just want to
tell you that right now.
For people who don't know who this man is, he's actually a kind person. He has a chihuahua. He's a 6'5" giant, and he has a little chihuahua. And
my chihuahua will go at your ankles, and I'll be going at your throat. We hit both sides of you. It's a team duo when we fight. All right.
I'm practically
got her to be a better fighter.
I'm trying to give you a good image here. Can you let me operate? Because you are just what? All right, let's move on, man.
I'm sorry.
Coach of the year.
I need to be right, and if I see Honey, I'm taking him out.
Coach of the year. Let's just
go, Honey. Not Honey. Honey.
But take both of them out and let's see what happens. Take both of them.
Honey scares me. He might hurt me.
I'll back you up.
Right. Honey might hurt
you up. I'll back you up. All right, Coach of the year, man. Let's move on. Coach of the year, who you got at this point? Season ended. Who you got?
Noonan.
Thank God you said that. At least we can agree on something. Why?
Noonan, he's turned in a year and a half. We've talked about this before. He's turned in a year and a half the worst team in MLS history to be on pace to be the best team in MLS history.
You making my point again for me. Worst team in the MLS, and now they're the best team, and their most valuable player should get the most valuable prize. But
he was on their team when they were the worst team in MLS. He is on their team when they're the best.
Is their best player. You got to learn each other.
Team when he was the worst. He's not the reason that they got this jump. It's Noonan and company. It's Mosquera coming. It's Miata.
You don't think, bro? You are a player. Don't do this. Don't be like one of those people play. You don't think the system that you play can help you. So if Honey is dropping any sort of system, it's still going to be this effective. That's what you're telling me. The system does not help him.
It's not this effective. But
exactly.
Let me put it this way:
if you was not effective, and now they have a system that makes him effective, and the team is doing all good together, we can't hate him for that.
I'm not hating him, but what it goes to show is that he is not the most important person on the team. The coach is. The players they brought in to help him.
The coaches,
the players you brought in to help him. Mosquera is more important.
You are a coach. Don't do that. You are a coach, okay?
Mosquera is more important than Acosta.
Let's move on. Okay, let's go.
Of course he is. He's more.
I know he's their best.
Like they did. You took Mosquera out today. They lost 3-0.
When you talk MVP, do you think of defense or do you think of offense? When has ever a best defensive player won MVP?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter
because
that's a fan MVP. That's a fan vote. That's not a real vote.
It's a
How is the most important player on that Cincinnati team?
Exactly. It is a fan vote, and you have to be able to be the best offensive player. Bro, I've been in those stadiums. Every time Acosta walks in, Cincinnati FC is going crazy. They know that's their best player.
But he's not their most important.
You are like you were now recording at the same set right now, man. There's something. Let's keep moving on, man. Surprising team. Who's your surprising team?
Now you go first because this is where I put a list.
This is where you put a list. I said I was gonna go with FC Cincinnati, but I gotta go St. Louis, man. St. Louis with being a new team that you have nothing to judge them based on. Like, they literally did not exist. They literally did not exist, and now they're.
I think we both expected them to be last or second to last in the league.
Yeah, and we were both wrong. So they're doing good. It's just their game today, which kind of helps them get out of this hole that they kind of creating for themselves here with a couple losses and a few draws there. Well, one draw, but yeah, St. Louis hands down got to be my team. They just took a lot of player and put this thing together, and and it's working. You know, and it's working. It's working well. So
they're one of the three I listed. They're one of the three. I have Houston as well. Houston went from being one of like everyone expected to be the worst team in the league, and they're at a roughly home playoff spot. So they're right up there. And then for the negative side of things, LA Galaxy. You went from being one of the best last year to a team that said yourself you are going to win the MLS Cup this year, and now you are one of the worst teams in the league. That's shocking. Like the turn that they made from
the
turn they made from best to worst is as shocking and surprising as Houston's turnabout, right? Like, if not more so.
Yeah. I was low-key kind of celebrating the tie today. I'm like, oh, at least we didn't lose. And then you won't hate me with this. That's as bad as it's been.
That's that. If you're celebrating,
I'm just saying. I'm not keep it honest. But we haven't had much to celebrate though. We also have to be honest with that. We haven't had much to celebrate.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I would consider.
You gotta find the celebration in the small things, and we didn't lose.
I mean,
we did not lose. If you ask me, did you guys lose? No, we didn't, and I'm happy we didn't. You know.
I mean,
that's how bad it is. I still gotta be faithful and still support, and I gotta find the positive, and the positive is that we didn't lose. All right, let's move on here. So, your surprising player. Who's your surprising player?
Nicholas Gioacchini from St. Louis, who we both have as the surprising team. So it makes sense that the surprising player would play for them. Last season, he was a bench player. Came in midway through, kind of failed, I believe, in Europe. Went to Orlando City, got 6 matches in, only started 2, and he scored 0 goals and got 0 assists, right? In 134 minutes. This season, he has started 16 of the 19 games he's played in, all of the games for the season. He has gotten just under 1,400 minutes, and he has 8 goals and assists. He's their leading goal scorer, right? Mm-hmm. He's not a DP. He was on a cheap contract. He has pretty much failed everywhere he's been. He was expected to be a great young talent, but has not lived up to it yet. And then he comes into a team with a really good DP number 9, is expected to obviously be his backup, and he steps up, and now it's at the point where if they're both out there, like if they're both healthy, Gioacchini's going to be playing. You're going to play them both, right? You're not going to sit him. He's not going to be a bench player. They were playing together at points. Like, he has played himself into a very important player in this league, and to a team that is doing very well. Yeah,
that's well said. Nothing to add, nothing to take away from that. And now for me, he has to be his mate, Klaus, man. Big old giant Klaus, man. It just seems like St. Louis got a lot of, like, what do you say, like diamonds in the rough? You know, is that the right way to say? Yeah. And somehow this people are just, I don't know, with some chip in their shoulders, just came in. Obviously, Klaus doesn't have that many goals, but I mean, he hasn't played that many games.
If he hasn't been injured for the last month and a half, he would be a leading goal scorer in this league.
Yeah, but you still think about what he's done, man. Every time you hear of St. Louis, you hear his name. Remember those goals that people kept just letting him score, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll take it, thank you." But he
was always in the right spot, getting pass backs, everything. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
and I mean, he's only played 9 games this season because of injury.
Yeah,
5 goals. Yeah, 5 goals, 4 assists. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's, I don't know who's the GM in St. Louis. Do you know their name?
Lutz, I believe. I believe his name's Lutz.
Okay. You would definitely know that. But yeah, kudos to you, my guy, because I don't know how you knew that these players were gonna come here. I don't know if it's the coach that's getting them to play this way, but hey, surprising player, Klaus, man. Let's talk about best signing, man. Who's your best signing this season for the MLS? Who you got there?
I have Gigi Yakumakis for Atlanta. We talked about this one in one of our first episodes of the season, previewing the season. We thought this was going to be a really big signing. We thought that this would be a big step up from Joseph, and it is, right? Like, he's killing it. He's in the Golden Boot race. He's scoring what feels like every single week. Just a massive step up from what they had recently with Joseph, and he seems to be a better team player than Joseph was as well. So absolutely massive step up from where they were.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, my best signing, it's got to be my guy. I still want to go see him, Berkey, man. He's been holding it down. I think because of his age, and I think he was like in Europe, he was like going down the depth chart where he was like backup of the backup of the backup at some point. But a very experienced player, came in, one of the best signing on this team that's just being surprising. So for me, the last 3 awards, really, I'll give it to St. Louis, man. Second in the West. Their player put in the position to be recognized, and that's what I'm gonna do tonight. Just recognize them, man.
Would you consider for Coach of the Year? Would you consider Bradley Cornell in that position there?
Second, and then who's the Columbus coach?
Wilfred Nance.
Yeah. Those are my 3 candidates. I'll put those 3.
It's definitely 1 and 2 for me. Nance is definitely in, I think, my top 5. I don't know exactly where, but it's definitely
that dude is just a freaking changer of organization, man. He did it again with Columbus.
True.
So
true.
Yeah. So that's pretty much
He was my manager of the year last season. He's who I thought should have had it with what he did with Montreal. It was just impressive.
And then now look at Montreal and look at Columbus.
Yep. It's proofs in the pudding.
Yeah. All right. Well, after the beginning heated debate, looks like we have calmed down to finish our second part. Are you still?
The only reason it's calmed down is because it's like 1:30 in the morning and we got a whole another part left. I'm exhausted.
You still?
I'm not going to argue. I don't think you're going to argue.
You're not going to argue.
I just want to go to bed.
Both make sense. Both make sense in our own way, and it's fine. All right. I'm going to go ahead and give us a quick break, and we'll be right back to finish up our third part. You're back for a third and final part of the show, where we're going to be talking about the Concacaf Gold Cup, where U.S. played Jamaica. Wow. What's a Jamaican accent, man? How do you do you know how to?
I don't want to get canceled, so I'm not going to do it.
Well,
I want to stay far away from
my icon, man. I'll do it. I'm from the Congo, so those are my brothers. But yeah, talk to me about that game, Coach. Talk to me a little bit about the coach, the lineup, the roster selection, our Jamaica Clear Gold Cup factory. Talk to me about that a little bit. Talk to me about that.
I believe the word you're looking for is favorites, not factory. I just know that because I wrote it, but
indeed, that
it's 1:30 in the morning, man. I'll give you a pass on that. It's 1:30. Let's just move on.
It's
but just to be clear, they are not a Gold Cup factory. They are human beings. They're not robots. There's no conveyor belts. It's just good soccer players. So just wanted to make sure that's clear. The podcast going downhill fast. No, so the roster selection for the U.S. here is very clearly a BC team, right? Like it's not your A squad. What would be? Are you asleep?
I'm not asleep.
Your eyes were closed. Your eyes were
I looked
all the way closed. Your head was slowly going down.
I just was looking down. Can I look
All
down?
right, sure. Yeah, okay. All right. But 100% of the starters
What if I
for
was
this
asleep?
team, I guess I just roll on.
Okay.
The only true starter for this team is Matt Turner in goal. Other than that, they're all deep role players. You got Miazga and Long starting at center back, who I think are probably the 7th and 8th choice for center backs in our pool. You got, I think, the 3rd choice left back, 3rd choice right back, your 4th and 5th choice center mids, your 3rd choice number 10, and then really your 3rd choice up on left, center, and right of that forward triumphant. So it's deep rotation players, right? Almost all MLS players, with the exception of, I think, 4 or 5 players. Jamaica, however, brought a squad. They brought 5 players that get real minutes in the Premier League in England, right? Another player that just signed for Chelsea. Their non-Premier League players are some of the best players in MLS, which is where most of our team has come from. Andre Blake, right? Arguably the top 3 best goalkeepers in the league. Lowe, who's a very good center back for Miami. Bell. Like, they have very good players all throughout. They've brought what I think is by far the strongest squad on paper in this tournament. And they looked it in this game. They looked very good in this game. They definitely looked the more dangerous team over the course of 90 minutes. And they got a goal early on, and then they drew a penalty early on. Turner, our only starter on this team, came through with a massively important save there. And we were able to bring it 1-0 at half. And then a couple of subs happened. Brandon Vasquez came in the 82nd minute and scored the equalizer in the 88th minute. And we ended up tying 1-1 with clearly a lesser squad as far as just pure talent is concerned, right? And I think that's awesome. A lot of that is home field advantage. You're playing in the States. This tournament is hosted in the States, so you're clearly going to have a bit of an edge there when you play every single game at home, right? But to be able to do that game 1 of group stages against probably the tournament favorites, that's a good sign there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm happy with the way that turned out for us.
Okay. So by you saying that Jamaica may be the clear cut like favorite, do you think the US then, because of just because this is just they just won because they kind of willed themselves, because obviously talent was kind of tilted one way. Do you think that puts US at that second seat where it's like they still want to defend home court and still show out that, hey, we can win this at home? Do you think they?
So
that's
I think the US is definitely contenders, right? Like, so the context here is this is our second international tournament of this summer, right? We did our full squad, our A team squad for the Nations League, and we won it. And now we are putting out a second string squad for the Gold Cup. 2 years ago, we did the exact same thing and we won both of them.
Yeah.
This Jamaica squad is far better than the Jamaica squad 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
The Canada squad is better than the Canada squad 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The Mexico squad is about the same level as it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think we probably slide into that second or third spot there under Canada and Jamaica. But again, home court advantage here is massive, right? Like,
yeah.
And I think also just the knowledge of, we did this last tournament with a weakened squad, and we won it, right? That builds confidence in the players. They know that their level can win this tournament, and they're going to be expected to win this tournament. So I think there's still a very good chance that USA ends up winning, but I would definitely tip the scale a little bit towards Jamaica there.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that. So I know you always kind of go in depth and a little deep with your game notes. So based on your game notes, who impressed you and who depressed you? Where you're like, yeah, get off the team. Talk to me about that a little bit.
So who impressed me for the first 82 minutes of this game? It was always going to be John Tolkien at our left back role. Young kid out of New York Red Bulls. He's our only, outside of Anthony Robinson, he's really our only true left back, right? Reggie Cannon can play that position, but he's naturally a right back, right? So to have this kid come in, step up, play against probably the best team in the tournament, look like one of our best players at 20 years old, however old Tolkien is, that's massive. Now I can look at him and be like, all right, maybe he should get some run in as a backup on the A team, right? I think he has done himself a massive favor here, playing up against a very good competition in Jamaica. One of probably the best attack in this tournament by far, right? You have 3 Premier League starters attacking, and you're holding it down, right?
Yeah.
So he definitely played himself up. Also, Vasquez coming into what wasn't looking like a very lethal attack and then scoring 6 minutes after he subbed in to get us the equalizer. That's big. I'd like to see him start a couple games instead of Ferreira.
Yeah.
And then who depressed me? Jordan Morris. He kept getting into the right spots. I like Jordan Morris. He's done 2 ACLs though, so maybe he's not at a national team level anymore. But he keeps getting into the right spot and not putting him in the net. If I'm going to have a player get into the right spot and not put it in the net, I'm going to choose Kei Kamara to do it because he's like
young,
8 years younger than him, right?
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm going to have a player on the left wing get into the right positions and fail every time, I'm going to choose the 19-year-old over the 28-year-old.
Yeah. But Kei Kamara is also such like a huge like freaking nature too, like his body.
He's physically a beast.
Yeah. So
and when he came in, he subbed in around half for Jordan Morris. When he came in, he looked okay. I think Jordan Morris played a little better than him overall, but he didn't look out of place at all there.
Yeah, but I think Kei Kamara is that player that kind of warms up. Like he always starts slow and kind of.
He just needs to get a bit of confidence. He hasn't really. I thought this U20 World Cup could be something that will really spring him forward, right? Because he was the guy scoring goals left, right, and center. So I'm thinking, hoping that boosts his confidence and he can take that confidence from being the guy at the U20 World Cup and now become the guy at San Jose.
Yeah.
And then once he does that, then he can start working himself into the full national team.
Yeah.
I really don't think he should have gotten called into this national team, into this tournament.
Just yet.
I wanted him to be able to get more minutes in San Jose and build that confidence.
Especially playing that high, like as a forward, you need confidence is like half the battle, right? So definitely get that. All right, Coach, that takes us at our end here. Anything you want to add before I close us out?
No, I still have sleep.
All right, awesome.
Hey, good.
Coach just wanted to sleep. I'm gonna go ahead and close us out. We appreciate y'all watching. Obviously, man, we know we always appreciate it. So tell a friend who knows a friend who can tell a friend who can tell another friend to please subscribe to our channel and feel free to reach us out, man. Any ideas, anything you want us to do? I'm thinking of having a giveaway pretty soon. I'm going to talk to Coach pretty soon here. We're going to come up with an idea, but we need subscribers to do a giveaway. So please subscribe and feel free to reach us out at our email, which is prophetspod@gmail.com. And you can hit us on Twitter at prophetspod. Very easy to find. We'll be there waiting for you. It's our logo. You'll find us very easily. And you can listen to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Man, we're excited for you guys to listen to this episode when it drops. And Coach, on to the next one.
All right, man. Good stuff. See you later.